So let's kick it off again from the top. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a very special edition of Geeks Who Like Sports Live. As always, I am Ray Carsillo in beautiful Los Angeles, California. Join my best friend, the entire Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, even with a hint of reverb. Lee Elias, Lee, how are you doing today?
Ray, I'm doing great. It is not sunny over here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's nighttime. It's actually quite late, but I'm happy to be doing this with your audience over in Los Angeles, California, because it's nice to be on your Twitch. I'm actually honored to be here on your Twitch feed. I really mean that. Follow you for a while. Some people would say I've known you most of your life. Other people would say that I've known you most of your life. And it's just really great to be here tonight to talk some geekdom and sportsdom. And I really want to actually say hello to your audience. Some of you may have seen me in the chat before as Lee MJ Elias. That's my handle. But I've enjoyed actually following your channel, Ray. I mean, you and I do our own professional adventures, and it's great to be on yours. And I'm really hoping this can become a regular thing. So I can see the chat here, and we're really looking forward to interacting with all of you, because that's something we don't get to do when we do the podcast. And this could be the dawn of a new day.
Yeah, this could be the start of something that we start doing regularly. Again, we appreciate everybody who's hung out for the. If you're listening to this after the fact, there was about 25 minutes of technical difficulties, but we did figure it out.
Not difficulties, technical prowess, as we've found a way to do it right.
Yes, and a very special shout out to Sean, our engineer, who's one of my best friend here in LA. Who really worked hard too. Lee, your best friend overall. Sean is the best LA friend.
For a minute there, I was going to draw a mustache on your face in a Sharpie marker, but that would have benefited you. That's back there. That went.
But Sean is a terrific engineer, and he really helped us walk us through this. He is an expert at this stuff, and we appreciate him being here and helping us with getting this going and getting this on the air. And we have a great show for you folks. We got a lot of sports to talk about: hockey, football, basketball. Yeah, the Knicks lost again. JJ, what else is new? They really needed this game too. We got Mark Elrod here, which is amazing. Of course, seeing us over our friend over at streamlounge.io. Watch us, of course, over there for Falcon and the Winter Soldier streams every Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And, of course, Mighty Ducks Game Changers every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. We went from there to here. So, for sure, Casey gets a call dedication. Casey, I don't know what the call dedication would be here. You know what? I know what the hardcore fans want.
Do yours and I'll do mine, because I know how to do a call dedication for Casey.
Yeah, and I'll go. And Owasco swings a deep fly ball to right center field. This one is gone. Goodbye, baseball. Casey at the bat makes it 1-0 Phillies there on his first home run of the year. There you go.
I think yours was better than mine. I'm gonna give you a 10. I'm gonna give me a solid 2.4. Yeah,
I think that's fair. I know Casey doesn't like the Casey, so I hope that Rob wants it for his text tone.
Can you imagine?
That's actually what
calls him. Goodbye, baseball. What the hell was that?
Yeah,
that's Ray Carsillo.
Yeah, Mark, just wait till we start doing live play-by-play with baseball on streamlounge.io. You're going to get a lot of goodbye baseballs, unless you're the Yankees tonight for some reason, because they can't score against Baltimore.
Right.
Anyway.
I can confirm that this is now our largest ever Twitch audience for Geeks Who Like Sports. Can confirm that right now.
Yeah. Yes. And it's a shame the Knicks lose another one-possession game. It was another one-possession game. The Knicks, of course, lost to the 76ers a few weeks ago on overtime on a phantom call. We talked about that a lot. And the Knicks dropped to 2 games under 500 and dropped to the 8th seed. The Knicks kind of falling like a stone. I believe this is 2 in a row, but I think they've lost 3 of 5 now. And now they're starting to look like the Knicks that we thought they were going to look like.
You can't be disappointed.
The Braves haven't been scoring either.
Nobody expected them to be fighting for a playoff spot. And that's, there's clear, they're going the right direction. You know what I mean? That's true. What you needed. That's what you needed. They finally found some identity. On the other hand, my 76ers, top of the East. Which I don't want to say I'm surprised. I'm not. When we got Doc Rivers, and you'll remember this, right? We talked about this on the show. I said, I think that's the missing piece we needed. We needed a coach that was going to take us to the next level. And he's done it.
Bring it all together. And
it's going to be a really interesting year when you look at the playoffs, because the dominant teams of the last 10 years don't seem to be that dominant. And all I mean is that, dare I say, there's actually a little more parity in the league this year. I'm not saying the Sixers are a shoo-in to go to the final. Basketball finals. But I am saying that I can't tell you who's going to win. Like every year I could say it's these two teams. One of those two teams is going to win. I can't tell you that this year. There's like 4 or 5 teams in play right now.
No, there are actually a handful of teams that are actually competitive. This isn't like the past few years where it's basically Lakers or with whoever LeBron was on and the Warriors basically. Caitlin gets a posture check. I set up a little straighter.
I guess these go for tonight. Before we jump in, I should say this too, just to introduce myself to your audience. I'm not going to tell you my whole life story. All you really need to know for this stream: from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Phillies, Flyers, Sixers, Eagles. Bring it on.
Yes. We actually have a very strong Philly presence usually in the audience. So, and I'm not just talking about Caitlin and Casey either. We actually have a lot of East Coasters here. In there, Caitlin now is going to spam the posture checks because it goes for both of us. But yeah, we have a big show. We got a lot to talk about for Geek Stuff: Ghostbusters, Loki, Thunderbolts, Jupiter's Legacy. We've got the All-Star game. We've got Baylor. We've got trading in the NFL, but we're going to kick things off. Speaking of trading, probably the biggest thing, we got Outriders. We're going to outride later tonight with Casey and Travis, who of course Travis is not here. What else?
Later tonight. That's a t-shirt.
Yeah. Yes. Big trade right before we went on the air. The Islanders and the Devils, an interdivisional trade, a rare interdivisional trade. Palmieri and Zajac to go to Long Island for a couple players and a pick, or possibly 2 picks. Excuse me, 2 picks. My apologies. There. Islanders are making a run for it right now, tied for first in the East with the Caps. Lee, do the Islanders are the Islanders now the team to beat in the East? And if they are, how far can they go in the playoffs?
They are now the team to beat in the Eastern Division. So look, let's just make no mistake. If this is a win the cup or bust trade, you're giving up a first round pick, which is by far the biggest part of that situation, that trade.
Caitlin did a dab in chat. It's Twitch. We got to do it.
Caitlin, I will remind you very briefly that you work in my home and I can make your life a living hell. So let's not try that again. No, going back to the Islanders. Seriously, look, this is a huge move. Not only are the Islanders bringing in a goal scorer, they're bringing in experience. Travis Zajac is known to score big goals in big games. If they needed a piece of the puzzle, this was it. Now, you never know what's going to happen. But yeah, to me, this puts them a little bit ahead of the Capitals in terms of the strength that they have. They have the pieces they need to make it to the deep in the playoffs. This again, I'm gonna say this again. This is a cup or bust trade. They just gave away their future for their present, which I don't think is the wrong move. I think they're very close to winning the Stanley Cup right now.
Yes,
it's going to come down to what is Tampa doing? What are some of these other teams in the Eastern Conference doing? But I mean, look, it's if they don't win the Stanley Cup this year, to me. If I'm the GM, we got to remember this is Lou Lamoriello, former GM of the Devils, that is making these moves. So
he knows what he's getting.
Right. If they don't win the cup this year, from a front office perspective of the Islanders, that's the bar. You have to win now, right?
Yeah.
That's the bar they've set for themselves. So it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens here. Keeping in mind, we can't sleep on the Western Conference, right? Like there's some strong teams there as well.
Yeah, the Knights are good. The Avalanche are good. Yeah, there's a lot coming.
Yeah, no, the Islanders became a major threat. Major threat.
For sure. And this is something we talked about, though, on the show, is that we weren't sure if this was going to be a busy trade line. Again, we're recording this on the evening of April the 7th.
Right.
We're 4.5 days away from the trade deadline. There are a lot of teams that were wondering if they're going to hold on to their pieces, teams like the Rangers and the Flyers, who might be sellers at this point. This is a big move. The Sabres, is this going to be, it's going to be the domino effect where we see a lot more trades now in this shortened season?
Yes, you will over the next few days. Here's what teams are waiting for. And this is why this year's a little bit different, because you're playing the same teams in the division over and over again with these 4-point swings. Teams are going to wait as long as they possibly could. Now with the Flyers only getting 1 point out of those 2 games with the Bruins, That pretty much solidifies the top 4 in the Eastern Division. It is possible, and I've said this since the beginning of the season. Like Flyers, Rangers going on a big winning streak, like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games. It could really shuffle the deck. But yeah, we're starting to see things shape up now. And look, it's a gutsy move, but that's a classic Lou Lamoriello move, and he knows what he's doing. But yeah, no, I mean, anybody below the Rangers is a seller at this point. I mean, I'm surprised Buffalo hasn't moved some of their guys, to be honest with you.
I completely agree, especially with a lot of these teams only have 18 to 20 games left. Both the Flyers and the Rangers have only 18 games left. Boston has an even 20. And we're, like you said, we're both 5 points back of Boston now, trying to chase them. And like you said, unless we go on like a 6, 7, 8 game win streak, I really do believe the Rangers and Flyers are done. Of course, if you've been watching my TikToks, I said it the other day, I think the Rangers are going to be probably end up right about this point. They'll be 5, 6 points shy of a playoff spot. I don't see them. I don't see Boston collapsing. The Rangers are still a year or two away. Also, of course, all the drama in the offseason did not help them whatsoever. D'Angelo and, of course, Panarin and all of that jazz. So it's going to be interesting. And no preseason. I think a lot of folks are getting on Lafreniere, which I think is unfair to the 19-year-old kid. He's shown flashes, but I think not
with his teammates.
Yeah, it's a tough. It's been a tough hill to climb for a lot of the Rangers this year. Chat, let us know what you guys think. Do you want to see, who are your teams? What are you hoping for? What do you think? Let us know below. As we, speaking of trades, and the trades in the now off-season trades, the Jets. Finally, we've been talking about the as Yoda Master Rob gives us the score update. Yankees tie it at 3. Thank you, Rob. The Jets, we've been talking about this. We saw Wentz move. We've been hearing a lot of quarterback controversies. Watson wanted to get moved before all the controversy down there in Houston, which, of course, we talked about here in the show previously. But now Sam Darnold, did you let you know how happy he was to get out of New York and how much he hated playing for the Jets, which, of course, we know is a dumpster fire of an organization at this point. The Panthers traded to the Jets 3 draft picks, a 6th round this year and a 2nd and 4th next year. And Darnold's family threw him a celebration party with blue and black balloons, which, of course, are the Panther colors. They are thrilled to be getting out of New York because it is clear that the Jets really messed him up, and now he has a chance to compete against Teddy Bridgewater, who do not sleep on. Even though the Panthers did not do well, Bridgewater is still a very capable quarterback. Set career high last year. Again, this is a former Pro Bowler before his injuries. He went 5-0 in relief of Drew Brees when Brees was hurt 2 years ago. He is still a very capable quarterback, but the Panthers need more pieces. So we got the so Lee, what are your thoughts?
Well, there's two sides to this, right? It's funny when you look at the Panthers and the Jets. The Panthers known to be able to win at times, and the Jets just are an enigma to me. That what's funny. We were talking today about Gary Vaynerchuk here and how he wants to buy the Jets, and I was saying he doesn't have the kind of money to buy the Jets, and it was said Jets are so bad they can't be worth that much. Jets are the 6th most powerful team in the league when it comes to money. And it's amazing to me that they cannot figure out a winning culture at that organization. And it's obvious how bad they are. So when Darnold gets traded and they celebrate, New York Jets, that says a lot about your organization. That should be a gut check when people are celebrating leaving your team. Usually people are devastated when they get traded. I'll give you an example. Carson Wentz going to Indianapolis wasn't a celebration for him, right? It was a sad moment for everybody involved. They would kind of move on and you pick up the pieces and you move forward together. But it wasn't like a celebration. New York Jets, wake up, figure it out. You have no excuses. You have all the money you need to build a winning culture. What are we doing here? But yeah, for the Panthers, it's a great move, right? I think that Darnold has never been given a chance. Flashes of brilliance. He got so unfortunate his rookie year with that seeing ghosts thing or whatever, seeing shadows out there.
Yeah, he had a couple of bad injuries too when he was starting to come around, and
it's just a shame. But I don't think anybody's seen what he can actually do. And to be fair, no quarterback on the Jets is able to show what they can do, for lack of a better word. So, if it's on paper a good trade for both teams, right?
Right.
If the Jets don't screw it up. Period.
That's the thing. The draft pick is only is the potential is only for the team picking it. We got some comments in chat. Rob is a Stars fan, so he's not really not into hockey too much this year. Casey, of course, hoping the Flyers turn around, but it's probably too little, too late. Rob also says he thinks Carolina is still going to go below 500. I think that's a fair prediction. They're definitely in rebuild mode, no matter who's their quarterback. But yeah, no matter what, now you have two capable quarterbacks in Bridgewater and Darnold. And yeah, I agree. Rob says they should draft receivers in the draft. I think that they need those kind of weapons. This is a very receiver heavy draft. So this would be the year to do it, even though, and again, you only gave up a 6th round pick this year. So you still have your top picks. This is a good chance for Carolina to really stock up on offense. And Darkstroke brings up a good point as well, saying that they should have made the Jets waited too long. Washington and San Francisco were offering more. They waited to pull the trigger, and instead, actually, Wentz kind of dictated the market, and that made Darnold's value actually precipitously drop. I think that's a really great point. So, but and yeah, Washington is a threat now too, Rob. They have made a lot of great moves with a little bit of Fitz magic. We'll see what they do in the draft.
Look, here's the deal: the NFC East is not going to be anywhere near as bad as it was last year, and that's a good thing.
Yes, I mean, we've talked about it a lot here. The Giants, I think, just need to focus on the offensive line. A lot of mock drafts are actually predicting the Giants will take 3 offensive linemen with their 6 picks. I'm already saying it right now. They're also going to trade Evan Engram for more picks, but
what's wrong with
that's
that?
really the Giants' bugaboo.
I'm not a Giants fan, but I think that's a great strategy. You know what I mean? Like, because at least give Daniel Jones a chance to show that he can do something, right? And then, if you have a good offensive line, there'll be quarterbacks available. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
Yeah, no, we will see. And of course, and the Eagles are in rebuild mode. They're this year. They are planning. They are stockpiling picks, not for this year, but for the year after, when all that dead money from Wentz comes off the book. And I think they'll make a big splash the following year in free agency in the draft. So, I mean, I'm optimistic as a Giants fan for the first time in a few years.
Yeah, look, the NFC East is really an interesting division right now. With the new coach in Philadelphia, you may get a honeymoon period here. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. Like I said, I'm looking forward to not being the joke of the league this year. I think that's the key. I mean, it was painful to watch any of these teams last year, and that's not good for the game.
Yeah, no, it is true. It is bad when there's a whole division that's bad. Rob says the Eagles need receivers in secondary. Their best receiver right now is a converted QB. He's not wrong. And again, a lot of guys want to trade Engram. Engram has value, Darkstroke, but I think he has more value in getting draft picks in return, especially after signing Kyle Rudolph for 2 years. Giants, to me, Rudolph is the number 1 guy at tight end. It fits the Clapper, aka Jason Garrett. That fits his offensive scheme. Rudolph. He's more of a kind of a Jason Witten type. So I think that's a good move. It's going to be interesting, like you said, though, Lee. It's going to be very interesting. Speaking of, yeah. You said you were speaking of jokes about the teams being jokes. You was making jokes down in Disneyland. Tom Brady, or is it Disney World? Not sure which one. But Tom Brady, this was a fun thing. If you didn't see Tom Brady making TikToks, folks, talking to Kylo Ren, asking Tom Brady to join the dark side. Of course, I'm already thinking that everywhere Tom Brady goes is the dark side. But Brady had a very fitting comeback and basically said, I'm already part of a winning team. I think I'm good, as he held a purple Mace Windu lightsaber, and Kylo Ren responded with, bold choice. It's a fun little thing if you're not following Brady on social media. But yeah, Lee, you wanted to bring this up. What are your thoughts on Tom Brady having some fun down in Disney World?
I'm just kind of enjoying Tom Brady recently. I mean, again, look, I think Tom Brady on the surface is probably a pretty boring person. I think his life revolves around his family and football, which is absolutely fine. Mm-hmm. But it's nice to see him showing a little personality here and there. Like, the most I'd seen from him before is really just him and Gronk after every playoff game, just kind of like smiling to that, we ain't going nowhere like that. You know what I mean? But look, it's cool to see him at Disney World. It's cool to see him with his family, humanizing himself a little bit. And, like I said, even after the Super Bowl this year, you can see that, look, man, there's a respect there now. We've said this on the podcast many times. I know a lot of people don't like Tom Brady, but you have to, it's the Anchorman line, like, with every fiber of my being, I hate you, but God darn it, I respect you. And you can't not respect this guy. He's the best. He's a 7-time champion, just like WWE. And, he might win another one. It's potentially going to happen. So you can't sleep on this guy. And look, I'm big as a coach and as a former athlete, is you have to try and enjoy the brilliance of them as athletes while you can. Same thing with LeBron,
Yeah.
right? Like I know people hate LeBron. You have to be able to enjoy this guy. He's not going to be there forever. Same thing with Gretzky,
Right.
Crosby, Ovechkin. I mean, you can go on with a lot of players. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's true. It's very, very true. As much as I don't like them, but you have to respect them, like you said. It is true.
You have to.
Yeah.
To not respect
Yes,
him
you
is to
have to.
not respect football. Let's just be perfectly honest about it.
No, it is true.
Yeah.
And
Even if
like
you did cheat, because that's always the big thing. You don't win 7 Super Bowls,
right.
because you cheated once. This isn't the Astros. You know what I mean? Like we're talking about,
Yeah.
that's not possible, right? So it's just
Yeah, no, his
respect.
legacy is not that. So and yeah, Mark brings up a good point. People wouldn't hate them if they weren't good.
Nobody hates
so they were
Daniel
good.
Jones.
Yeah. he hates Daniel. He really hates Eli Manning though, as Darkstroke mentioned, the one guy, and Nick Foles, but really Eli because he got him twice. But Rob said it though true. Tampa Tom is happy Tom, and update score. Yankees down now fourth.
He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah. He can have fun. He can get drunk on the parade now and throw the Super Bowl trophy from boat to boat.
Glasses with Christopher Kluse.
Yeah. So and now you know who's gonna be joining Tom Brady down in Disney World now?
Who, Ray?
Baylor. After winning the NCAA championship for the first time in 73 years, they knock off Gonzaga, who of course is the national number one.
They didn't knock them off; they destroyed them.
Yeah, that is true. Actually, yeah, they absolutely obliterated them.
Gonzaga the entire game.
Yeah, Gonzaga, you knew Gonzaga was in trouble considering it took a buzzer beater in overtime to knock off UCLA. Not to take anything away from UCLA, who of course had a magical run as the 11 seed. But yeah, Caitlin, what a transition. But yeah, Baylor winning is they dominated. They absolutely dominated. They were the number 2. This is only, I think, like this is the 5th time, I think, in the last 20 years, I think they said something like that, where the national number 1 and 2 met in the championship. Right. And yeah, Gonzaga fell into the trap. They were going for the perfect season and they couldn't pull it off. They ran out of gas at the end. And look, if you like second place, you can go play ball at Gonzaga. If you want to win, go somewhere else. Look, I'm sorry. Look, they are untrue. Yeah. It's sad to say, but they are a great program that always seems to come up just short. True. Speaking of going back to before, talking about like a team like the Capitals, right? Like this is a program that just consistently seems to just make a misstep right before the finish line.
They're just never at the end of that shining moment, ever. But it was a great game. I watched it. I mean, it was a great game for Baylor. I mean, they just right from the start. I mean, I think they dominated. 7-point lead right away at times. I think the closest they ever got was 10 points at the half. But look, my perspective on these things is that, you have to remember Baylor had a miracle way of winning to get to that game too, which was pretty amazing. And, it's just, especially when you're undefeated, a lot of this comes down to will and human performance and the mentality of it. And Baylor just wanted it more than Gonzaga. There's just no doubt about it. And like, look, man, being undefeated, I'm telling you this as a coach and a player, it is insanely hard to go undefeated and win a championship. It's so much. I mean, it just rarely ever happens, right? It's happened once in the NFL, right? Or is it twice?
Yeah.
Once in the NFL.
Yeah, once where they actually won the was it 78 Dolphins, I think it was, where they won 14 games and then won 3 playoff games.
I always say that like winning a championship, even being a dynasty makes you legendary, but being undefeated makes you immortal. Right. The only time I've ever seen Belichick almost cry was when they lost to the Giants. I'm being serious. I'm not trying to make fun of him. I know you're happy about that. But, the thing with being undefeated is that it plays tricks on your minds. And what happens is, this happened to Canada in the World Junior Championship this year, too, is that you fall, you start to go down and you don't have the build up of what's the word? You don't have the
resiliency, the ability to bounce back.
You just don't build that up. Like the us against the world. You have to practice that. Something you can learn. And you go down, and if you're not winning from the front, it's tough to come back. You start to doubt yourself, and you haven't doubted yourself all year. These are things I work with on teams. I always say teams don't prepare for that. I'll be honest with you. And I wasn't in the locker room, but if I was Gonzaga before that game, the national championship, I would talk about what happens if we fall down. What are we going to
Yeah.
do if we find ourselves in a hole? How are we going to respond to that? I guarantee that conversation didn't take place. Now, Gonzaga's used to coming back from behind, but this is a team. Baylor looked possessed. So it was a great game for them, for Baylor. They deserve to win. And again, look, in COVID times, any championship is kind of special right now. There's so much more adversity than they usually have to deal with. So congratulations to the Bears. Great tournament, great season. And, that coach has been there for a long time. He said he was going to win a national championship when he came in I think the late 90s. Or was it like 2000?
I was going to say, it's actually 17 years. I think it was 2003 or 2004 that he came in.
That's a haul.
So
that's an entire birth to high school career.
Yeah, exactly. The guys who are playing for him now were like toddlers when he
they were born.
When he took over, but he had a plan. I mean, and the Baylor program was in shambles in the late 90s, early 2000s. He took it over. He rebuilt it from the ground up.
Right.
He recruited. He worked hard. He got his guys to buy in and believe. And then progressively, they got better and better and better. They started making the tournament again. They started advancing in the tournament. And now here we are.
Ray, I'll tell you this, the in coaching college versus pro, I'm not patting myself on the back, but I've done both of those. All right. And the difference between pro and college is that, in college, you get this great gift as a coach. If every 4 years you have a completely new team, no matter how you look at it. Right. So your voice never gets old and you can build this respect. That's why Saban is so good at Alabama. But when he went to the pros, when he was in Miami, he couldn't win. So forth and so on. And that rotation can really help a certain type of coach. Whereas in the pros, your message could get old. You might have players there for 15 years. You know what I mean? So it takes a special type of coach that can stay at a school for that long, build this program, build the culture, and then bring it to a championship. And if you think about pro sports, Belichick's one of those guys. I mean, there's not many of them. There's not many of these guys that have longevity of staying in one place for so long. Barry Trotz is a guy who did that in Nashville for a long time. He's not even there anymore. He's going to win a Stanley Cup with the New York Islanders now. He's there. But it's just, it's amazing. I always like to talk about the human performance side of that and the coaching side of that because it's amazing. I mean, you look at Coach K and Duke and like what he's been able to do. It's just amazing. I'll shut up.
Yeah.
Now. I'm going into my coaching.
No, it was a fascinating year in the NCAA tournament. It was a fascinating tournament. We had a lot of Cinderella stories. Again, UCLA and 11 made it to the Final Four. It was a great year for a lot of teams, but Gonzaga falls short again. What's up, JC? Welcome to the chat. It's okay that you're late. It's all good, buddy. Welcome.
JC, I'm not letting you off so easy, man. Where were you? I mean, we've been waiting here. We've been talking with 48 minutes and 13 seconds, and you just show up now? I'll remember this. I will remember.
As we this good chance to reset. Of course, welcome to a very special Geeks Who Like Sports live. As always, I'm Ray Carcillo, joined by my podcast partner Lee Elias and best friend. The Yankees right now are losing. JC, the game is not over. We're getting updates from Rob and Darkstroke here in chat. Can we
talk about my 5-1 Phillies out of nowhere?
I mean, if you want, we are going to go into baseball now. We can start off with the Phillies, who are dominating 5-1. They've split thus far with the Mets, I believe, because they took 2 or 3 from the Mets. They took 2 or 3 from the Mets. The Mets got their first win. The Mets are 1-2. And I mean, the Phillies look good. You're getting good pitching. The one game you lost, your bullpen really kind of gave it away, which we knew could be a bugaboo for you guys. But still, 5-1. And I mean, you got timely hitting today. Baum had a 3-run home run.
Here's the deal. Yeah. It's a simple fix. And like I said, some people were saying that, they're going to be the bottom of the division. This is the key now. This can change. You said the big key, good pitching. That's always a key to being successful, but they're not hurt. All right. The Phillies were so injured last year. And if you look at the Phillies on paper, they have a pretty darn good lineup. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if they're feeling good and they're healthy and the pitching continues, they're definitely a contender for the NL East. Right.
Yeah. I mean, we've been saying it, I think, beforehand. The NL East is probably the most competitive division in baseball this year. You go top to bottom, and I'll admit it. I thought the Phillies were going to probably be towards the bottom of the division just because it's such a stacked division. Not that you guys are going to have a terribly bad year,
no, I hear you.
But that's also why these early divisional games are huge, because if you can get fat on teams like the Braves and the Mets and the Marlins and things like that, that's a big deal. Going forward for you guys, because you can build up a lead and maybe not relinquish it.
Right.
The Braves are off to a super slow start, very surprising. They have Ian Anderson, Soroka, all these guys. They have this great pitching staff, and the Braves are just not showing up. The Marlins are the Marlins. I thought would be around 500 anyway. They have good talent, but them too. They're really kind of building back up. And of course, the Nationals, great pitching. Were they going to get the hitting? And then, too, the notorious slow starters. Could a slow start for the Nationals spell doom for them like it did last year and allow the Phillies to sneak in? And I know everybody's talking about the Mets. Everybody wants to talk about the Mets. The Mets are the sexy pick. But let's be honest with the Mets. And until they prove otherwise, they're still garbage, as they prove this series here against Philly. So
Dan Saunders makes a great point about the extra inning run as an improvement. The rule, extra inning rule about the guy being on second. You know, when that came up, right, you and I were very cautious, I think would be the word. Just kind of like, let's see how this goes. I agree with you, Dan. It has added some excitement to the game. And I will say that Caitlin Reese, our producer, who was an NCAA softball player, and this is a rule that's in softball, said that it will be great. And she was right. I got to say that I was a little bit shy with it at first. I wasn't sure if I liked it. It's a big change to the game. But it has really added something to, I mean, it gives it an overtime feel. Let's just be honest about it. It's like when you go 3-on-3 in overtime in hockey, it just gives it like, hey, you can win right away. I don't think anybody wants to see it go beyond 11 innings. You know what I mean? Like 10's good, 11's fine, but once you get past that, it's like, I want to watch something else.
Well, and that's the thing. I think the purists are mad, but like, I love the 18-inning games that happen once every 3 years. And it's like, no,
no, you don't.
No, like nobody really does. And it destroys a team's bullpen usually for one game in a marathon.
Right.
Like,
if
honestly, I think
game,
that,
sure.
Yeah. If it's a playoff game, it's a different story, but it has been a huge improvement, although it looks like it's going to bite the Yankees in the butt tonight, but that's okay.
Screwing the team over with the bullpen and like, you know, heaven forbid it goes even further than that. Like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? So that was a big change for baseball, who's notorious for not changing. So that was, I think it was the right move, and we'll see if that leads to some other things.
Yeah. And the guys also bringing up good points. The American League East is also pretty competitive. Baltimore swept Boston. And now Boston swept Tampa after Tampa took 2 or 3 from Miami to start the interstate series and this start their season. The Yankees dropped 2 or 3 to Toronto, but now took 2 or 3 from Baltimore. It looks like they're going to lose tonight. It's absolutely insane. It's a very tightly compact divisions. It's going to be interesting to see, but I agree. I think this extra inning rule is going to be good.
Look, JC brings up a point. It says the last 18 inning games was the World Series, but I'm fine with that in the World Series. Because there's only 2 teams playing, they're gonna have a day off most likely, or not.
Yes.
Or is it like a playoff game? It totally works, right? Because
you have 2 days off in a 7-game series.
When it's game 72 in July, it's just
or even now in April. Who cares?
I don't watch this, right? You know, maybe Ray, if we were at a game. That would be okay because it'd be like, don't have to go home and take care of my kids because it's still in the extra innings. And then I get the call from my wife, like, you better get your ass home and take care of these kids. But the Phillies are still playing. She's like, get home.
At some point, that's why usually by the end of those games, you have like 17 people left in the stands.
Right.
So,
or what used to be a Marlins game.
Yeah. Well, and it still is in many ways.
Jeter has done a great job. Starting to turn that team.
He's rebuilding that team. I mean, and no offense to your Phillies, but I think that trade for Sixto Sanchez and Realmuto, I think will pay off. It's paying off it's a good trade. It'll pay off for them in the long run with a definite ace. And obviously Realmuto, now that's re-signed with you guys, best catcher in baseball, in my opinion. So I think it's paid off for both teams.
He is. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Phillies fan. He is.
Yeah. So, so for sure. And JC says the Rays bullpen won't hold up over 162 games. I don't think the Yankee bullpen will either, to be fair, but I think the Yankee has at this point, I will say this. I think the Yankee rotation is better than Tampa Bay's.
Right.
I don't know if they're better though than maybe Toronto or Boston. We'll see.
So Ray, this is my first time actually on your channel. Your audience, everybody in the chat tonight, why don't you just tell me where you're from? Because I don't know most of you like Ray does, and Ray loves you guys, but just type in the chat. Let me know where you're from. And if you have any sports teams that you like that aren't from the area you're from, so like if you're from New York and you like the Anaheim Angels, just
Dodgers,
let me know that.
Or whatever.
Yeah, just go ahead and type. Yeah, please don't be that. But let me know where you're from, what teams you like, if it's not something normal from your city, just so I can get an idea here. Gotham City, that makes a lot of sense. Look, you know what? You have the car. You have the car to go along with that. I can't argue that whatsoever. I really hope I get to meet you one day. I mean that. I'll fly out to Los Angeles at some point.
Yeah, no, for sure. And JC Springer and Yates being hurt beginning of the season will hurt Toronto, but I still think Toronto is a stacked team. And again, both much like the National League East, the American League East will beat up on all each other, for sure. But yeah, while you guys are typing where you're from to let Lee know, we got Bearcats from St.
Bearcat,
Louis.
I've been to St. Louis multiple times, man. It's a great city. I really enjoyed being there.
Yeah, so we got JC from Boston. We have a lot of East Coasters. We have a lot of Boston folks, a lot of Philly folks, a few folks from the New York area.
Yeah. JC, where in Boston? Are you in Boston or are you like in a surrounding territory? Let me know.
Surrounding territory. Like it's olden times. We call them suburbs now, Lee. We call them suburbs.
Are you in a surrounding territory of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts? I've been to
Massachusetts a Commonwealth?
Pennsylvania is. I know that.
I know Pennsylvania is.
If only there was a device we could ask. You know, let's ask Siri. Right? Ready? Hold on. Siri, is Massachusetts a Commonwealth?
This is the worst radio ever.
Legally, it is a Commonwealth.
There you go. There you go.
My knowledge of the colonies, right?
Yeah. There you go. So JC from Boston, not a Patriots fan.
Well, do you know what team he likes? If it's not the Patriots, it's the Giants. That'd be weird.
Yeah, it would be, but JC did a lot of guys. I get that a lot actually. There's a lot of folks who like some Boston teams, and some folks who like some New York teams.
Well, is JC going to spill the beans, or do I have to sit here and wait?
Yeah, you gotta remember there is a delay. You do have to wait. There is a delay, so you do have to wait sometimes.
I don't have to wait. Okay, but I do. I really
Yankees, Orioles. Yankees down by 1, bottom 11, 1 out, runner on. Tying run at third. Speaking of baseball, big news this week for the All-Star game. We talked about this on last episode, the main episode. We do have to mention now they have, that's right, JC's a Panthers fan, very happy about the Darnold trade.
We built this episode for you, man.
Yeah, you guys see, we already talked about the Darnold trade, JC.
You were late. You see what happens when you're late?
Yep. And the Yankees lost. Awesome. Thanks, Darkstroke. They lost 4-3. I don't know how that happened in the bottom of the 11th, but there you go. Yankees fall to 3-3. Baltimore 4-2 in first place. That's going to change. But speaking of baseball, we were talking about the All-Star game has been moved from, why are they not pinch running for Urshela? Anyway, I'm not going to talk about the Yankee game right now. The All-Star game's been moved from Atlanta to Colorado. That is official.
Ray. It's like live emotional breakdown.
Yes. Urshela is very slow, but he's a third baseman, Darkstroke. Colorado is now hosting the All-Star game. It's only the second time that they're hosting the All-Star game. It's going to be interesting for Home Run Derby. Obviously, Coors Field is still a bandbox. It is still a hitter's park. But JC, it's okay, buddy. We're just
JC, I'm totally teasing you, buddy. Don't worry. Don't take anything I say seriously unless I say it's serious. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Dan explains that the only judge was left on the bench. Of course he was, because of course Aaron Boone mismanaged the entire lineup and the bullpen again. The only I'll say this. I hope the only thing I'll be okay is if the Yankees have a bad year is I hope that Boone and Cashman get fired because of it. If that happens.
Is this a bad time to say that I really like Joe Girardi as a coach, as a manager?
Joe Girardi is a terrific manager, and the Yankees didn't know what they had because Brian Cashman's a moron. Anyway, Colorado Rockies are hosting the All-Star game.
Bear. I need to get like a bear stuffed animal and poke it.
Oh, yeah, Darkstroke. I don't know where Tyler Wade was at either. Because we were here. I didn't watch the game. Anyway, I think this is fine. We talked about it. Look, baseball decided to use its power and its weight to of course make a statement about the new law down in Georgia, and they moved it to Colorado. And not to get political here, but Lee and I talked about this, is that it's very funny that the left attacked Georgia, and then when it moved to Colorado, the right attacked Colorado. And it's really just like, this isn't going to bring anybody together if we all just keep attacking each other. It's like baseball made a statement, respect the statement, and understand why they were doing it. Now, there might have been, obviously, there's some hyperbole and whatnot around a lot of the law and all this other stuff in Georgia. Again, listen to the last episode to get the full take from me and Lee. But at this point, I feel bad for the fans of Atlanta, and I'm happy for the fans of Denver getting their second All-Star game of all time. So it is what it is, unfortunately. Lee, what are your thoughts?
So, I have lots of thoughts on this, Ray. I mean, look, from a baseball perspective, I'm sure they picked Colorado because the amount of home runs will just erase the conversation from anything else, right? It's a
Right.
great diversionary tactic, to be honest with you. But
Hmm.
yeah, I'm always torn on sports and politics. Like I'm one of those people that follow me here. I am very tired of politics and sports mixing together. It's not why I watch sports. But with that said, I can't not support an athlete's or a league's right to make a statement. But
Right.
we all have to deal with the consequences of those statements. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to be one of those people that's like, just know your role and shut your mouth. It's not fair, but it's just, I just wish we could move past this time period because I believe that a lot of the messages coming out right now are two-faced in a lot of ways. And I don't know if they're sincere. I think a lot of it is, I just don't know. I don't know if it's a move just to make people happy or if it's a move you really believe in it. You turn on the news, one side says they're absolutely right. One side says they're absolutely wrong. And then obviously, if you're listening to this, whatever side of the aisle you're on, you think that way. And I'm just, like you said, it does nothing to bring us together, to bring a conversation. I mean, we're arguing over baseball now. Like, how great is this
Yeah.
country that we have to argue over where the All-Star game is? Like, that's where my mind goes. Like, that's our big problem, right? You got
Yeah.
COVID, people dying, but the All-Star game, like, I just don't, like that it boggles my mind, right? That people are
Yeah.
losing their mind over this All-Star game on both sides of the aisle.
Yeah.
I mean that's how awesome it is to live in America. That's the problem, right?
Yeah.
I know we have other problems. I know people take those problems seriously, but it's always a pick or choose, and the news cycle moves on, and then in 2 weeks we'll be complaining about something
We'll be
else.
mad about something else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just, it's, me, Ray. I'm about bringing people together, having
Yeah.
conversations. We don't have to agree. You and I often do not see eye to eye politically, but we have really great conversations.
Yes.
And we always learn. And, like that's the key. And until we get out of this right, wrong mentality,
Right.
it's not always right and wrong. There's gray area even in this, even, and you have said that, right? There's gray
Yeah.
area even in this situation. So I'm just really exhausted with the Jerry Springer mentality with all the serious problems we have, and
Yeah.
it's like there's not a lie detector test where Maury Povich or that security guard's going to come out and pull it out of an envelope like, Atlanta, your voting rights have been too strict. The lie detector test shows that was a lie. Like, that's not going to happen. Like, that moment. Right? Like, it's more like, we did this. Well,
The
this
New York Mets are the father. What?
right. Like, it's like, what's the realistic? Can you imagine if it was like a Jerry Springer show or Maury Povich and it's like, lie detector test says it's complicated and it's going to be strung around in the Georgia Congress for 14 to 15 years, and we'll find it again. Make sure you tune in next time. This is Maury Povich, brought to you by BS.
Yeah.
I just don't know where it's going to go, and I'm just I'm tired of it. I'm going to say this again. I personally do not watch sports for politics. That's my personal view. I'm not negating anybody
Yeah.
who has a different view, and I am completely tired of it. All right.
Yeah.
I can't negate them for having the platform to speak. I think I said this
Yeah.
before, Ray. I this is how I always worded it. I support every athlete's right to speak out about whatever they want, and I also think they probably should not do that.
Yeah.
All right, because I don't think it
Yeah,
benefits them.
I
Depending
mean,
on the issue.
it's not
Depending on the issue.
not in every case. I mean, obviously
Right.
there are some things that, it's like you said, it's very complicated. Obviously, thank you, JC, for the follow. Much appreciated over there on the Instagram, on the gram. But yeah, I mean, look, obviously there have been it's good. It is good, obviously, and it's a great thing, of course, in this country for athletes to have the right to protest and to speak their minds. Going back for the Berlin Olympics in the 30s,
Well, it's everyone,
Muhammad Ali in the
right?
Vietnam War.
It's for everyone, not just the athlete,
Right.
anyone. And
No,
that's
for
what
sure.
makes the country great.
Yes.
Is that an athlete and me have the same ability to speak out? Maybe not the same audience, but
Maybe not the
that's
same
what
platform, right?
but that's what makes it great. Is that the
Yes.
president's vote and my vote count exactly the same. That's one of the most amazing things about this country, right?
Yeah.
Like if you guys want to just go back 2,000 years to England, you don't get a vote. You just the king says what it is, and that's the way
That's
it is.
it. Taxation without representation.
Right.
So
T.
Anybody eat tea? I love tea.
Tea?
We actually love tea in the show. I should have made a cup of tea before we had to get one on the air, but
I should
I have my
too.
water still.
I ran out of
But
my
yeah,
Gatorade in the first 5 minutes.
But yeah, no, I think that's the thing. And I think, again, I think it is also good that the good thing that baseball is doing is shining a light on this, and it is starting a conversation. Again, the players were very much for this move. And yeah, I think, and Dan makes a good point. The majority, the quiet majority, is hungry for some politics-free experiences. I think we're hungry for I think everybody's just hungry also from the pandemic of just trying to get things back to a semblance of normal. I think we're all exhausted. And I think that this is why we're also all a bit more hyper aware of everything around us right now, because we're all more easily plugged in to 24/7 news cycle. JC, I'm not familiar with Mercedes. I'd have to look it up, but yeah, it's again, you gotta look at it as a case by case situation, but again, it's a beautiful thing that we have this right to protest.
Totally,
we have the right to vote. Get out there. If you don't, and again, I said this on the previous show. I think also part of the backlash is that sometimes, and this again, Republican voters and Democratic voters aren't always properly represented by the people that they vote to elect them in, not just the U.S. government, but in their local government. Is that a lot of politicians like to say one thing and then they'll go and do another. And I think part of the reason why that this law was so unpopular, or at least came out, was that it sounded like, I know I talked to Dan about this, is that a lot of folks were trying to put in provisions like you can't vote on Sunday and all this other stuff. And there was a whole thing, there was a big backlash, and it felt like for a lot of people that they weren't being properly represented in their in their state Senate. And I think that is also a fair thing. And in 2 years, vote the jerks out. That's your prerogative, is that now, unfortunately, you have these laws. Get in there and, play by the rules and fight and get the people in there who will hopefully change them back. It's not the best system, but it's the best we got. I don't know. Yeah.
You're looking for me to say, but look, because I want to jump off politics.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to live in America. I feel fortunate to be an American. There are other places in the world where people can say that. It's not limited to America. But I'm very proud to be from this country. And I think we need to focus on the good and the bad, not just the good or the bad. And I think that's one of the big problems we have, is that, we don't realize some of the gifts that we have by being Americans, and that the capacity for change is one of those biggest gifts, and that change takes time and it doesn't happen overnight. It took baseball 100+ years to put that overtime rule in. Things happen slowly, but they happen.
Yeah.
And history shows that in other countries that was not possible before 1776 in the way it was after 1776. And I'm proud to be from here. But let's get back to the geekdom in the sports, because we still have a whole geek segment to get to that I'm really excited.
We do have a whole geek segment to get to. Also, you're me. I'm home and saying this. Yermin Mercedes as the third string catcher for the White Sox. And the first time in 20 or 30 years that he hit in his first 8 career at bats, as he's been pushed into emergency duty for the White Sox. And so he is, first guy since 1990 to do that. So congrats to him, a guy who'd only had first 8 at bats of the year. I think it is. He's had 1 career at bat leading up to this. He's a 28-year-old rookie. So good on him. This is
a
good
about him. Yeah,
this is a good feel-good story. I think Luis Robert having the ball hit him in the head as he missed a pop-up has been taking up more of the White Sox's footage this year. But what's up, Styles? How's it going? Welcome to the chat. Yeah, Mark, we have the Yankees. Yes, we do. So we've got that going right now. So that is a good story. Out of baseball. Good on Mercedes.
So JC there. Asking, he says he's heard I'm a hockey guy. Where did you hear that I was a hockey guy? What could possibly?
JC Lee is the hockey guy, and yes, he is a Flyers fan.
I'm a hockey fan first, to be fair, Ray. You'll back me up on that. I grew up a Flyers fan, but I'm a fan of the game, and I've been around the game most of my life. So if you have any hockey questions, let me know. But yes, that is a big part of my life.
Nice. And Farmers, of course, from Minnesota. Big Minnesota sports fan. Twins, Wild, Vikings. We don't talk about the T-Wolves for him because poor fella's suffering. You're talking about, I feel it as a Knicks fan. But yeah, so moving on now into our geek section.
Yes.
Speaking of people who might be suffering, new trailer dropped for Loki, and dude's in prison. He's in the Time Variance Authority. Owen Wilson looks hysterical in this. They have
Everyone
a great
does.
rapport. Yeah. And it's clear that the events of the Avengers Endgame, they're talking now about branching timelines, clearly setting up some more stuff for later on with maybe Doctor Strange and all this other stuff. Some bigger stuff here in the Marvel Universe. We could get some alternate timelines now. And it looks like it's Loki's job to kind of cut these timelines off at the knees and kind of try and help Owen Wilson get things back under control. And this looks like a buddy cop comedy that could be hysterical and full of action. So I'm super excited for it.
Your savior is here. Yeah, no, look, third show by Marvel hitting stride. That second trailer looks great. I mean, it looks really funny, number one. I mean, the scene that everyone's talking about, Bitchy, I'm sure you all see it, is that, Loki, I've studied your entire life. You've literally stabbed people in the back like 50 times.
Yeah,
I will never do it again. This classic Loki and Hiddleston. So like, it looks great. You know, the one part of that trailer, Ray, that is getting my Marvel brain going, right, is that screenshot of the fractured timeline, which we heard the Sorcerer Supreme talk about, obviously in Endgame. So what I'm thinking is this, Ray. I'm thinking, you know, with WandaVision, we had these big theories that none of them really came true. We've been very conservative with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'm going to have a hard time believing this show is not going to start opening up massive Easter eggs, massive questions, massive multiverse type stuff. Because it looks like, you know, Loki's going around manipulating the different timelines, probably looking to rule one of them, but time will keep fighting back. The one I like is there's that shot of him. It looks like the world's coming to an end. And he's just like this.
Yeah.
Like I can imagine. I don't know what that was, but I'm sure he's going to be like, doesn't matter what I do. It's just the world's going to end, you know, So you know what it reminded me of a little bit? It was like Quantum Leap. It reminded me of Quantum Leap and Sliders a little bit. Quantum Leap, a show that has to come back. I don't know how they haven't remade that yet. But no, look, like certain trailers really stick out. Like the best Marvel trailer I ever saw was for Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok with the Led Zeppelin, you know, the Immigrant Song. I mean, that was like the best trailer I think I've ever seen in Marvel, right? I've seen other trailers I like, but this one really stuck out to me. I was like, I really want to watch that. That looks like it's going to be the best show yet. And I can't wait. Tom Hiddleston is so talented. I just can't wait to see the show. And Owen Wilson looks so good. Owen Wilson playing Owen Wilson, you know, in the show is going to be great.
Did you see Tom Hiddleston doing the Owen Wilson impression where he's doing his lines as Loki? As that was hysterical as Owen Wilson. Yeah, absolutely hysterical. JC says he's a fan of the TV shows, but he's waiting really for Black Widow. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before. The TV shows are a great way to fill in some of the backstory, kind of be the exposition, the setup for the big beats. And now the movies are really going to hammer home some major moments. And I think Black Widow, we talked about it last week. Taskmaster. I can't wait for that. And speaking of Taskmaster, that leads us into something. Speaking of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that Lee mentioned as well, a big theory that's being put out there is who are we going? Or excuse me, big theory is that are they setting up in Falcon and the Winter Soldier and these new movies the Thunderbolts? Who, of course, is a kind of a Avengers light version, an evil Avengers light, basically, that was started by Baron Zemo.
No, you guys say it like you normally say it on our show.
Zemo.
Baron Zemo.
Baron Helmut Zemo.
You can't do it without smiling. That's why I make you do that.
So I think that's an interesting theory. I personally don't think they're gonna go that route when they do Thunderbolts. But I could be wrong. I mean, if they do Thunderbolts, I don't think we're going to get that big reveal for a while.
Right.
But the Thunderbolts have become a really beloved property for Marvel over the last 25 years because it's got a crazy cast of characters constantly changing. It's Marvel's answer to the Suicide Squad is really what it is.
Right. And they've never done that before. That's the other thing too, is like, that's why I don't think they're going to start doing it now. Like the bad guy team up is very much a DC thing. It's not so much a Marvel thing. It never really has been, to be fair. I know they've done it, but it's never been at the forefront like Suicide Squad or
Yeah, outside of Spider-Man and the Sinister Six, I would say.
But we haven't even seen that, and that's my point. Like that would, to me, that would be where they go first. They were trying to, and obviously that stopped. I'll be honest with you. If I almost don't want to say this, if there's gonna be a big like, oh my god, twist in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that no one sees coming, I think it's gonna be X-Men related, not the Thunderbolts, and I don't think that's gonna happen. All right, but I'm just saying, like if there's Madripoor, there's kind of hints that there's X-Men mutant ties. But that's the big twist I would expect, is like at the end you see something, maybe claws come out of someone's hand or something like that. But no, I think this show's pretty black and white. I think it's about who's the power broker, who's going to take the shield, and that's where it's going to move us to. And there'll be some twist at the end, post credits. It's like, oh my god, they're going there. You know what I mean? But I don't think it's going to be the Thunderbolts. And look. Here's the other thing: we've seen all the Young Avengers, or most of them. Right, like that's
pretty much all of them, because we've got Stature, which is Ant-Man's daughter. We've got
Wiccan.
We've got the Hawkeye. We've got Hawkeye's daughter. We've got Patriot. We've got Wiccan and Speed.
Yeah.
You've basically got the Young Avengers at this point, and I think I'm forgetting somebody, but and then there's a thought out there that that Loki might revert back to his childhood form, which is becomes a Young Avenger at one point. I don't think they're going to do that, because they don't want to. Why would you waste Tom Hiddleston?
But keep in mind, this isn't Young Avenger, but we have Kamala Khan coming too, which to me would be the crux of the whole thing. Like that's where they'd come together if they were going to come together. So
that is a good point. That would be a great way of doing it. A great neat way of doing it.
Yeah.
JC, favorite Avenger? That's a tough question. I mean, I always. They're all so good.
We talking movie Avengers? We talking Avengers all time? We talking comic Avengers?
Yeah.
Like how we? That's a loaded question. That's why I'm asking that. If we're talking, are we talking just MCU, JC? Because it is a fair question. Yeah. And then like, is it MCU up to date? Not counting the scene in Endgame.
Yeah. While we wait for JC to expound on that. Memphis, I believe that the Twins are actually going to be a sleeper team. I did not give the Twins much credit coming into this year, but they look very, very good. So the MCU currently, JC says, I would say at this point, Smart Hulk. I would say
it's a solid answer
at this point. Yeah, I mean, you got to remember, most of the rest of them are Iron Man and Cap are dead. We're just super old. But
one of them's dead.
So, yeah. So, I mean, currently, Smart Hulk, I would say. Lee, what are your thoughts on the favorite Avenger currently in the MCU?
Yeah, I'm a fan of Thor from Ragnarok on. I just find him to be hilarious and really fun, and I enjoy him, and just that he has all the powers that you need to do everything, and I just like him. He's fun to me.
Yeah. No, for sure. Good answer. Speaking of superheroes and Avengers and all this other stuff, a new trailer came out for a new property coming to Netflix based off another comic book called Jupiter's Legacy, starring Josh Duhamel. I don't know if I'm saying that correct. I mean, it's interesting. It's kind of like a DC, kind of like a Superman, that God complex. Obviously, him and his Justice League have kind of been fighting and doing good things for Earth for years, but they're older now. And Jupiter, who's kind of the Superman figure that Josh plays, is his kids are kind of like looking for their place in this world and kind of dealing with their father's legacy. Kind of an interesting idea of like Superboy and Supergirl. How do they live in Superman's shadow, right? And how do they find their place in this world? It's an interesting. I think Mark Millar did the original story. And I think so. Obviously, he's done amazing things like Kick-Ass and whatnot. So this will be. I'm looking forward to it. It's coming to Netflix very soon. First trailer dropped, I think yesterday.
Yeah, you know what I'm excited about with this one, Ray? Is I don't know much about it. In fact, after I saw the trailer, I was like, let me go to Wikipedia and look this up. And I actually stopped myself. I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to watch this without knowing everything. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like when it comes to Marvel and DC, you and I are extremely knowledgeable from a comic book past. You more than me, but we're we can hold our own. I don't know much about this. Everyone who's read it tells me it's awesome. So I'm just going to kind of like sit back and try and enjoy a superhero show without any context, because like how often do we get to do that? right?
Yeah,
Like I
very
don't want to
well.
go into this thinking, oh, it should have been like this, or that's not how it was in the comic book. I don't really want to know. I want to try and enjoy it. And I trust the writers over at Netflix 100%. I had that with The Witcher a bit. I wasn't too familiar with The Witcher before that came out, and it was awesome. I really enjoyed it. Now, what's funny is now I really am familiar with The Witcher, so I kind of know where that's going, right? But
Right.
yeah, I'm going to kind of treat myself. Like, how often do you get to watch something where like you don't know something about what's going to happen? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. And I think that yeah, we're both a little in the dark here, aside from the basics of it. And I think it's gonna be fun. And we'll talk about it here in the show for sure. JC's got another question. You guys think it'd be cool if they made a Marvel versus DC movie? They did it in the comics. They did a 4-issue series in the comics as our buddy Fishy comes back. What's up, dude? Welcome back. They did that in the comic books, and it was a lot of fun. I don't think the DC brand right now in terms of film is nowhere near the level of Marvel. And so I don't think it will ever happen because Marvel doesn't need to help out their biggest competitor as DC continues to limp along as it is. I mean, obviously HBO Max has been a huge boon for them. But I mean, so it says something that Godzilla versus Kong right now, knock on wood, I think is one of their bigger hits,
The
which was a
biggest.
fine movie. Yeah, their biggest hit. Like it was, it was a fine movie. We talked about it on last week's episode again. It was solid. If you just want something to check your brain at the door and just watch some big, a giant ape take on a giant lizard. JC, you said great 2022. I don't right now. The only one of those that I'm looking forward to is Black Adam. I am worried about the Batman. I think Aquaman 2 will suck, and I do not know. I hope they don't mess up Flashpoint. But yeah, I think that I think Black Adam, and we've talked about it here in the show, because of The Rock, will be fine. But I am always concerned about DC because they just have a tendency to find ways to mess it up. And Darkstroke, both places are making multiverses. They've already said the Batman's gonna be in Earth 2, and of course, obviously DC, or excuse me, Marvel is started out with WandaVision. So, um,
Yeah, so a few things just to answer your initial question. Yeah, in the current state of the DCU and the MCU, there's no way there's going to be a crossover film. Now,
yeah,
would I want to see it if they were on equal terms? Not necessarily. What I'd want to see, and I don't think this would do well. All right, this is just something that I'd want to see. We talk about this all the time on the show. The difference between Marvel and DC. Marvel are humans trying to be gods, and DC are gods trying to be human. I would love to see a script where they explore that, where Superman is talking to Iron Man or whatever. Captain America is more
right,
likely, right? About what it
right,
means to be a god, right? Um, I would like to see something about that because that's where those two worlds could really collide and help each other. Of the
mm-hmm.
responsibilities of both. I'd say that in Marvel there is no, like, Superman is the most powerful character in DC, and just when you think he's not, they give him another power to make him the most powerful. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So Marvel, in my opinion, Ray, doesn't have anybody like as strong as Superman, and there's a reason for
no,
that.
yeah,
It's like the one-stop shop. When it comes to the 2022 movies, I'm actually excited for the Batman as a standalone, and that's how I'm looking at it. Aquaman 2, I have no desire to see. Flashpoint, I think, is the most important film they've ever made. And
yeah,
I'm not saying that it's going to be good. I'm saying they have to nail that to set up their universe, because Flashpoint is going to introduce their multiverse,
right,
and put to bed, hopefully, the Snyderverse, and make sure that they go, this is how we're going forward. When it comes to Black Adam, again, something we've talked about multiple times on the show, Dwayne Johnson is not coming into the DCU for second place. He is trying to take on the Superman mantle, which is audacious as all hell. And that's why I
yeah,
love him for doing it. And they're filming that any day now. So
yeah.
Black
I
Adam,
mean,
I
they
think
just
the
had the announced
Flash,
release date, so
right? I
yeah,
think
we haven't
Flash
seen
is
it.
going to be an important film to turn. And I think Black Adam will be the future of the DCU. I think everything will spawn from that moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. JC also talks about more villain pictures. Obviously, Joker was amazing,
Yeah.
but I think that DC doesn't want to celebrate its villains in that way.
No,
And
that's
I don't think
rated R. I mean, like,
yeah,
you
it's
know,
you try to avoid that with comic book films. Typically, certain characters, Deadpool,
Suicide
Joker,
Squad. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get away with that, but I think that DC in general is trying to hit the widest audience possible. That means to keep things PG-13
Or
probably.
just listen to your audience and follow the canon a little bit better, and you could make something worth watching. I don't know why
Yeah.
DC always has to lean back on the characters they've done 100 times. Like I said, like Darkseid was a perfectly good villain to do, and it's like we still don't really have him. And you guys, I know we saw him in the Snyder Cut, but we still don't really have Darkseid versus Superman. Like, just make that movie. If you want to enjoy DC properties, watch their TV shows, or if you really want to enjoy it, watch their animated movies because those are really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah, the DC animated universe remains. I mean, that's why they're talking about bringing about Batman Batman animated series.
It's the best. It's the best.
Yeah. I mean, and for those who don't know, just to give a bit more insight, this is something I learned while working at DC, is that the reason why a lot of those cartoons only went 3 to 4 seasons was because DC did not think that their audience would stay with cartoons beyond a few years. So they kept trying to recycle and get the new audience, not realizing that there'd be guys like me and Lee who are still like, why did they stop Batman the Animated Series? It was the greatest show of all time.
If only there was another country that had a very animated, strong presence that has maintained through time that they could have used as an example that adults do like animated television. If only there was a country that did that.
Yeah, if only. Japan got one over us. And again, funny enough, Batman Animated Series was animated a lot of times in Japan. A lot of folks didn't know that the one of the studios there that did, because it was done on black paper. They had anyways, that's a deep cut.
Casey says he'd love a new Batman Beyond. I think we're gonna get a live version of that before we get an animated version of that. But yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, but Batman Beyond is great. Yeah, I mean Michael Keaton coming back is a big deal. Huge. Probably, hopefully to set that up.
Yeah. I still don't think he would have signed on if the script wasn't awesome. There's just no way. In fact, if he pulls out, that's how you know it's going to suck.
Yeah, no, that's very, very true.
He'll do that. He's very protective of Batman. He has always been protective of himself as Batman.
Yeah.
And Casey, we believe that Michael Keaton is setting himself up to do Batman Beyond. So that's
to be an older Batman as a mentor. Yeah. To a Terry McGinnis. Speaking of, so moving on away from comic books, well, they have a comic book too. Moving to our last big trailer of the day. Ghostbusters Afterlife got a new minute drop today, which was amazing. Absolutely went. I can't. This to me, I don't care what happens in the comic book world. If this is good, this is my film of the summer already. I love Ghostbusters. Everyone knows I love Ghostbusters. I am Dr. Ray Stantz. I am the heart of the Ghostbusters. But yeah, it is obviously the long-awaited third Ghostbuster film. Bill Murray came out and said that he was physically exhausted after shooting his scenes, which only makes me like even more excited. And yeah, it's going to be it's going to be, I think, fantastic. I absolutely cannot wait. But anyway, the trailer showed a bunch of mini Stay Puft Marshmallow Men escaping from a Stay Puft Marshmallow bag and attacking Paul Rudd's character in the grocery store. This was phenomenal. It was hysterical. It obviously reeked of Ghostbusters. I cannot wait for this movie. As Casey, of course, quotes, "It's looking at me, Ray."
I think he heard you.
Yeah. And JC, by the way, we record every weekend, and the new episode drops typically on a Monday for the podcast. So, Lee, what are your thoughts on the new minute trailer?
Oh man, here's the thing. This is what I love about the market of this. It wasn't even a trailer, right? It was just a clip, which is great because like they've already dropped a couple trailers for this, and I like their idea. Yes. This was just get excited about it. Their marketing.
We're still coming, baby.
Yeah, we don't want to show this scene. It's like show the scene. People need to see the scene right now.
Yeah.
Just to reaffirm it, no, I was excited about this before. This got me even more excited. And then, what's funny is that not that Paul Rudd's value was down when the trailer came up, but like, it's even higher now. So it's like, it's just going to work out. Again, this was written by Ivan Reitman's son. It ties directly into Ghostbusters from 1 and 2. It's a sequel, if you will, or it takes from that.
Right.
The only fear I have is that, and they've done a good job of tempering this, is that, if our expectations get too high and it doesn't deliver, but I have a feeling they're not making this film with just a one-off in mind. I think they're thinking universe. And I can't wait to see it. I mean, that scene was so endearing in so many ways. So obviously it brings back memories of Gremlins and of we talked about this, of Army of Darkness with the ashes.
Yeah, Evil Dead.
I saw one person. We have to discuss this. I'm actually going to quote this. I'm going to go to our page. Somebody ripped it on our page. Like they didn't like the trailer. And I'm like, I don't understand what you didn't like about that
What's
trailer.
there not to like?
Yeah. I posted it on our
I don't get it.
The quote I put was, "Are you a god?" So I do want to read this. Wait, I got it up here. Okay. Everyone, by the way, plenty of people commented, loved it. This is the comment. I won't say the person's name because he's actually a good guy. It says, so basically Gremlins. Yeah, this movie's going to be bad. So there's a few things about that. Gremlins wasn't bad. Number one, it was awesome. Right. And then like, I don't know, man. Don't see the movie. I don't know what to say to you. Like you're getting a Ghostbusters movie. It looks good. Shut up.
I'll go see it twice to make up for your lost ticket. So bye-bye.
Yeah, man. It's like when someone asks you if you're going to see Ghostbusters, you say yes.
Yes.
No, Ghostbusters, known as one of the top 5 funniest films in history. Like, just nailed it.
Yeah.
Casey
says it was a huge part of his childhood. Was a huge part of all of our childhood.
Yeah, anybody over 30. Yeah. Anybody 30 to 45. It was a huge part of your childhood.
Yeah, it's coming out. Don't forget July, JC. Yeah, I'm going to double check the release date. Real quick here, but it should be. Yeah, it should be. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, it's been pushed back to November
of 22.
Pushed back to November of this year. This year.
That's fine by me, man. We got plenty to hold us over. Real quick, JC. Yeah. So we record every week, but you can find every episode on geekswholikesport.com or just anywhere you look for podcasts. The other thing I was going to say, Ray, is that I was going to say this earlier with Disney Plus. Like, again, we talked about the golden age of geekdom. I mean, it's getting better. I mean, we're literally living in a time right now where there is something new every month. Every month. Okay. So like, I can wait till November because we got like 7 things before it. It's like, just keep them coming. Just keep them coming. Keep them coming.
Yep. Exactly. JC, biggest movie this year? Ghostbusters. For me, I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I mean, I don't know what'll end up being the biggest movie this year. It could be Spider-Man. I mean, to be fair, Spider-Man Far From Home or No Way Home, Spider-Man No Way Home could be the biggest movie of the year in December. Ghostbusters, I think, will give it a run for its money. Remember, a lot of stuff got pushed to the second half of the year because a lot of the studios want the movie theater revenue.
Well, don't sleep on Godzilla versus Kong either.
I mean, it's done well, but I don't think Godzilla versus Kong is the largest movie of the year.
Are we talking like most anticipated movie, or are we talking like biggest box office? Because this is a tough year for box office.
Right. I mean, it's going to definitely be interesting. And JC, we might start doing live episodes once a month. We'll see what happens, buddy. Michelle, welcome back, by the way, here as we got the live chat, of course, going on here, of course, on our live episode of Geeks Who Like Sports, this special episode. And the flowers are still standing. We're now caught up with chat. Indeed, Casey. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough to call to say what the biggest movie of the year is right now. But for me personally, Spider-Man and Ghostbusters are the two I'm looking forward to the most by far.
That's safe to say. I mean, Black Widow's not going to do bad either, so we'll see.
It won't do bad, but I'm not looking forward to it like I am Spider-Man.
Yeah, Darkstroke says Godzilla vs. Kong was all right. Yeah, it was just a lot of fun, Darkstroke. That's kind of why I enjoyed it. Like, and Ray and I talked about this extensively on our last podcast, but mindless, entertaining fun, which is not something we get too much anymore. You know what I mean? Like
Michael Bay-esque.
Yeah, that's what we said. So it's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, so last story of the day. We are not doing a mashup this week because again, this is a special live episode. So this will be the last story of the day. Real quick, actually released. It might have released like an hour ago, actually, as we're doing this live. Pac-Man 99. So you had Tetris 99, then you had Super Mario Brothers 35. Now you have Pac-Man 99 in that vein of old school arcade classics. Now with a battle royale twist, where getting the best score, sending ghosts to other games against other players, and the last Pac-Man standing is the winner. This got a lot of buzz. A lot of people seem to really be enjoying, especially old school gamers, the 99 format, as they're calling it. It's a different take on the battle royale genre, right? It's a way to bring back these classic games and do a twist on them to make them relevant in a world where every other battle royale is a shooter of some sort, whether it's Apex Legends or Fortnite or Call of Duty, Warzone. This is taking old school arcade games and making them relevant again in a way that is super, super fun. And it's available now on Nintendo Switch Online. I can't wait to play it. Lee, what are your thoughts? And also want to really quickly put into the chat, let me know what you guys want Friday, if you want me to do Oddworld Soulstorm again or Pac-Man 99. Lee, what are your thoughts?
Look, man, I really love the what they did with the Mario game recently. That was kind of new for me. And yeah, I think it's great. It's a way to keep old school gamers connected. It's fun. Again, we talk about mindless fun. It's one of those things where, if you lose, it's mildly frustrating, but you're like, I'll just do it again. It's like, it kind of brings you back to that where like again, when my son loses at any game, you might hear a rage yell of a 7-year-old throughout my house, right? Which is, it's too much. It is just a game, right? Like, and I don't say that like a parent used to say that. It's just a game. You don't lose your mind like that. He's also 7. But these games, it's like, oh man. They can just jump back in, right?
Do it again. Yep.
Yeah, so like I kind of like these quick games. I mean, like it's funny, right? Because you and a bunch of our friends keep trying to get me online to play some of these other games, which I really would love to do. Believe it or not, it's not something I don't want to do. I'm looking forward to a time when I can, but these games take 20 minutes and you're in and you're out, and you can be fun and be out. That's what I look for a lot of times now, just to kind of dismiss for a little bit, or check out for a little bit in a competitive way, right? So right. I think it's a great idea. I'd like to see more of these things. Like I said, I'm devastated that Nintendo hasn't done more with Zelda this year. I do not know how that happened. I do not know how they did nothing for Zelda this year, but maybe they'll do it for a different game. I don't know. Caitlin wants me to play Among Us. I have a hard time with Among Us because of a personal promise I've made to myself about being honest. That sounded weird. Ray will back me on this. I'm big on trust, so I don't like to lie, to the point that I rarely ever do it, if at all. And Among Us is tough for me. Although I did win one matchup as the imposter without lying to anybody, so I'm retiring on one.
There you go. You win once and you're done. One and done. That's all you need. Oh, goodness gracious. But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. This is also good. Yeah, also Darkstroke voting for Oddworld Soulstorm, wants to see more of that. All right, so we'll probably do that on Friday. We'll keep that schedule locked in. I was just thinking that maybe we do another new game this week, but we can save Pac-Man
put it on your Twitter
for another time. Yeah, no, that's a good point. We'd also do the poll on Twitter, but we're not doing Among Us again on chat because some folks were really they didn't play nice. And by play nice, I mean basically I told them don't swear and don't be a jerk in chat, because we did a live chat thing where similar to this, you could hear everybody on headset, and some folks didn't keep it clean, and we are very proud here of our try. At least the games themselves might not always be clean, right, but we keep it clean here.
It's been a great audience tonight, I can tell you that.
It has been a great audience. We really, really do appreciate everybody who has been in here and chatting away and helping us out here tonight. It means a lot. It's been good banter. The mashup of the week. It is we have no mashup today, Caitlin. No mashup. Thank you all for tuning in.
I could come up with a mashup quickly if you want. Right? It's what I do.
Okay, go.
What athlete would you like to see fight Kylo Ren?
That doesn't tie into the episode. We barely talked about Kylo Ren.
Doesn't mean it doesn't. So just do it.
Athlete I'd want to see fight Kylo Ren. Shaq. If he can get into a wrestling ring, he can fight Kylo Ren.
What you doing, man? Oh man, no, I was just kidding.
Yeah. So okay. Well, I came up with it. Welcome back, fishing.
Yeah. Right.
JC, have a good night, buddy. Take care,
too, buddy. And thanks for subscribing. And I really do hope we help you get you through your algebra homework, because God knows algebra is not fun.
Yeah, algebra's not fun, but it is useful, sort of, maybe, depending on where you're going to go. And also, congrats on your football practice. I did see the comment, didn't get a chance to talk about it. Congrats on the pancake in your football practice, JC. Congrats on that. Good to see that you're doing well there. I think that's it. Yeah, Darkstroke liked the Shaq answer. Shaq versus Kylo Ren. There we go. So there's our mashup of the midweek. But yeah, again, thank you everybody for tuning in. We really appreciate y'all hanging out with us, especially through the technical difficulties we had in the first 20 minutes of the stream. But we got through it. We're here now. We're going to try and probably start doing this semi-regularly. We'll obviously keep an eye on the schedule here in my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/RayCarsoul, as always. JC, I would love if you played O-line for the Giants, because goodness knows they need the help. You're right. They do need the help. So, for Lee in Philly, I am Ray in LA. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We will see you hopefully on the podcast. Hopefully tune on the podcast next Monday, our new episode. And then again, maybe sometime here on Twitch. Also see you tomorrow night as we go back to Outriders. Time to outride. Tomorrow night back on the stream here at twitch.tv/RayCarsoul. Good night, everybody. Be well. Take care. Yes, Darkstroke streaming tomorrow. For Outriders. Take care. Good night, everybody. Be well. We'll see you all later.